Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night from both Stephen and I here in Japan, coming to you wherever you are in the world. A very happy Shochu'sday. Kanpai, first kanpai of the morning, afternoon, evening, or night. This
Come
smells
by.
like
Good
water
morning.
because it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
morning
don't
over
actually
here.
don't actually have a beverage in front of me, so I have to do this one dry.
Weird.
But
Okay,
yep,
that's one way to try it.
sure.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm hanging in there, hanging in there.
Good.
Almost recovered from my loop the loop journey around the United States, but I could use probably about 72 hours more sleep. I think
Yeah, I hear you. I
we'll
was
get
up
there.
up early today, and I'm already feeling it. I'm ready to go back to sleep. But
Ready to throw in the towel.
yeah,
Um, well, we'll keep this one short, as has been our wont recently, and I guess we can probably dive straight into booze news. One thing that's coming up, um, that it's an event on the Tokyo booze calendar, is the Tokyo Whiskey and Spirits show. Isn't that
hmm
right?
yep.
When is that happening?
I believe that's July 9th
Okay.
is they're sort of being able to go and taste all the winners. Um, really inconveniently timed because that's also Shochu Fest in Fukuoka. Well done, guys.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Okay. I didn't realize that because I did get a golden invitation to Shochu Fest that I was thinking about entertaining, but maybe I need to
Well,
hold
I
off.
mean,
I didn't
the
realize it
whis
was the same day.
It's well, the Shochu Fest is 2 days,
Okay.
and the whiskey thing is the Tokyo whiskey is just 1 day. So you could just bounce back and forth if you wanted to do both. Sounds
I
pretty
don't. I
ambitious.
do not want to do both.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see who wins on that one. Um, let's see. It's
So yeah,
Go
we
ahead.
got so yeah, there's that. There's the. I guess those are the two kind of booze newsy things. Well, on the Japan side are the Tokyo whiskey and spirits competitions, portfolio tasting or whatever in Tokyo, and then the Shochu Fest 2 day festival down here in Fukuoka,
Mm-hmm.
same weekend, so you can pick your poison. But also coming up, you and I are actually headed back to the States next month for Tales of the Cocktail in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So that's a basically a week long cocktail festival. We're doing a Koji Spirit seminar. We've got
on
a
on the
happy hour that we're
Thursday, right?
organizing. Yeah, on the Monday we're organizing a happy hour. We will be there all week. So if you happen to be in New Orleans or want to go to New Orleans, we'll be around. Um, and it's a time. It's a you got to pace yourself. Tales of the Cocktail is a liver crushing event if you're not careful.
Yeah, you've been to this before. I haven't.
I have.
I'm
Yeah,
worried.
yeah. I've been twice, and I told myself I didn't need to go back after the 2 times I went, but we were chosen to do a Koji Spirits panel discussion. It's myself, you, Jesse Fallows from Mizu Shochu, Chris Ude from Impex, who import the Koji whiskeys, and then Toshio Ueno from Mutual Trading, who
Yeah,
has been doing Shochu education for a long time. So that's the panel I'll be moderating. You guys will be the panelists. I'm going to just ask you guys, pepper you with questions, and hopefully everybody learns a lot. There'll be a couple of drinks, a couple of cocktails, and a bunch of single, like straight pours during the session. Should be a lot
I
of
think
fun.
it's first come first served, right? For that session, maybe is that
Yeah, I
correct?
think there's max 80 seats, something like that. So,
Okay, we'll pack it
uh,
out.
yeah, if people are planning on being there, you should probably sign up early and get your seat. We're going to have all sorts of fun. There's going to be some video, some audio, some it'll be a multimedia extravaganza, as it
I
were.
think it.
So,
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
yep.
Um, let's see. I've just got this comment coming through from our good friend Anagman, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Thank you for the
Yeah.
love on the Mitosaya episode. That's a newbie on the feed. Is
Yeah.
that right? When did that
Yeah,
come out? Was that last week?
that came out actually over the this last weekend was our first weekend release of an episode because we were a little bit overdue on getting it out. But yeah, that's now in your feed, and we just recorded the next episode last night. and
Mm-hmm.
I've already seen. I haven't listened to, but I've seen that the rough draft is already in my inbox. So I need to go and do some get Rich some feedback on that for our next episode, which will be on Koji cocktails. Uh, kind of continuing on our cocktail theme that we've been running for the last few episodes.
Yeah, it's all
Uh,
the rage.
yep. So yeah, it's lots going on. Constantly busy. Um, Also, it looks like I'm going to be doing some events in Denver after Tales. So if people are around that
Okay.
weekend in Denver at the end of July, I will be in Denver for probably a food pairing dinner and a cocktail takeover sort of thing.
Nice, nice.
Yep, should be fun. Um, yeah, you were just doing a bunch of this stuff, and now it's my turn to do some. My trips
Yeah,
tend to be shorter though. I don't do 7 weeks. That's a
7 weeks is not advisable.
yeah.
Speaking of which, yes, the event. When was it? 2 weeks ago,
Hmm.
at Kouraku in Little Tokyo in Los Angeles. Yes, that was us, and
It was you,
we
right?
part. Yeah, it was me. I partnered with my Nakayama from Nankai Shochu Nankai Imports, who do a couple of great Kokuto Shochu that they bring into primarily California. And we teamed up with Kouraku, which I believe is now the oldest ramen shop in the United States. And Mr. Tokuda, who is the new owner there, welcomed us in, and we had a great time. We had a wonderful time pouring shochu. We went through. I think I poured more than 100 glasses of shochu myself.
Wow.
Mai, of course, and then also our good friend Reina was there from Kagoshima helping us out, and she does a great job on. I one of the one thing that if she's not too busy at
Hmm.
Yokaban and you can get her to make you a drink, she does. She's so meticulous
Hmm.
with her, whether it's a sodawari, whether it's a mizuwari, oyuwari as well. She's so good at it. It's really something that she doesn't show it off, but she has a way of doing it that is very, very much like the way that a shochu maker will put a drink together for you
Hmm.
when you're going out with them and they happen to be holding the kettle. So yeah, that was definitely honkaku there, and yeah, if you missed it, I apologize because it was a little bit of a hairy time just for a number of reasons, and I'm not confident that we got the amount of the PR out there that we needed to get out there, but it was very, very well attended regardless. So I'm grateful for
Yeah.
that, and I will be in LA again next month. No, that's not true. Beginning of August.
Yeah. I think if people want to keep abreast of those kinds of activities, those kinds of events, you really got to keep a pretty keen eye on the Honkaku Spirits and Christopher Pellegrini Instagram uh, stories.
Yeah,
Uh,
for better or worse.
yeah, more so than posts. So it's really about the stories, and that's where you can get a lot of that info. But it's hard. Maybe we need a calendar of events or something.
Yeah, I've
People
tried to
can,
do that before. I have tried to do that
yeah,
before.
maybe now there's
Uh,
enough of them.
well, calendars, it's like everything else on the web. I'm sure we could do a shared like Google Calendar somehow.
Hmm.
But then people have to remember what the link is, or it has to be sunk somewhere on some website, and then you get to the point where, well, then how do you regulate who gets to put what on the calendar? And then you're like, well, you need a paid solution to this. And there are
Hmm.
wonderful calendar apps for websites that allows user folks with certain permissions to upload their own events, which I think is the holy grail. However, it ain't cheap, and it's just one more thing that can screw up your website. So I have gone through the gymnastics of this thought
Yeah.
process many, many times, and I haven't come to a copacetic solution yet. So if anybody else has an idea, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah. That the web stuff is not my bailiwick. That's something I understand a lot about. So I'm really, I was working on an Apple IIe computer when I was 8 years old, and now you know,
You're an
technology
early
surpassed
adopter.
me. I was, but now it's like it's gone too far. I'm content to let somebody else figure that out.
Yeah, most of the time I am too, when I have
Yeah,
that luxury. Well, okay, that's probably enough for the booze news because we're halfway through our show already. So let's move on to the main event. And
sure.
the main event this week is all about a recent tour that Steven was on down along the west side and the southern part of Kagoshima Prefecture, which is sort of turning into southern Kyushu is turning into a bit of a whiskey distilling
Hmm.
destination these days. There's a lot of new licenses that have gone out to that part of the world,
Yep.
and there's a few folks that have been in the game for long enough to be able to barrel stuff that they can actually label as whiskey.
Hmm.
And they make good stuff. And Steven's going to share a couple of recent visits with us. So
That's
where'd you
right.
go?
So yeah, this was pretty impromptu actually. Uh, I got a message from our friend Emma Jansen. Again, congratulations to her on winning the James Beard for her book, Bartender's Manifesto. But a friend of hers was visiting Kyushu and wanted to visit these distilleries and wondered if she knew anybody who could show him around. He doesn't speak a whole lot of Japanese, even though he's a huge fan of Japanese whiskey. He's also a bar owner in Seattle, and I'd actually been to his bar coincidentally. So I volunteered my time and my driver's license to take him around to a couple of distilleries down in Kagoshima. So we ended up making appointments at Mars Tsunuki, and also at Kanosuke, which is the newer of the two. And the first stop was, unfortunately I was driving, so I couldn't actually drink. But it was a really interesting experience because I had been to Tsunuki before when I was doing my book research, and they didn't really let me beyond the rope. Like, you know what I mean? They were like, that over there is the wash tun, those are the stills. But it was all kind of, it was a private tour, but it wasn't the full on behind the scenes tour. And we got the full on behind the scenes tour this time, which was pretty special. I'm going to try to share these videos and see if it works. Let me see. Where's present, I guess.
Yeah.
Share screen. This is not going to go well, I can tell already. Okay. Um, okay, so this is actually a wash,
All right.
right? So they're extracting the sugars here, and I had never seen that before, like actually opening up the tank and letting us watch it. Can you still see my photo?
Yeah, I can
Can
see
you?
the carousel here.
Okay. And then here's an actual fermentation bubbling away for Kanosuke's whiskey. That would be malted whiskey, of course. Um, and then they had the still on full boil,
Oh, good
right?
timing.
Yeah, really good timing. So we got to see of course, beautiful Miyake stills. I think it was really roiling in one of them. I don't think that's not a video, unfortunately. Maybe this one. This is a good one. All right, like just boiling away. This is actually the first one was the stripping run, and this is the spirits run. That's why it's cleaner. You don't have as much foam. Um, like pretty fun experience. The distillery is actually at the former home of the. Come on, where was it? I took it at the end. This is the iconic uh, location, right?
Yeah, that's where the old still is inside,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
The
exactly,
old column still.
exactly. And then, but it's at the former residence of the Hombo family, and this is the garden at the back of the tasting room. You see the distillery right beyond it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the tasting room is in the former family home. So it's pretty special. And then they've got their low rick house with all their casks, and they use all different sort of casks. There's an Oloroso, there's a PX cask, former bourbon, all that sort of thing. And it pretty fun spot. And we stopped off for a tonkatsu lunch because you have to do that in Kagoshima. Pork cutlets are required, little kurobuta.
Nice.
And then we went over to Kanosuke. And this is a much newer distillery. You can see it's nice and clean inside. Uh, Really pretty distillery. Um, Nice new copper stills, which are now getting a little bit of patina to them, but nothing quite like the Mars stills. Um, and then their barrel program was pretty fun to see as well. They actually do a lot of their barrel aging over at the adjacent distillery where they make mellowed kozuru, their barrel aged rice shochu.
Hioki. Okay.
Yeah, no, not actually hioki, just right up the hill from the
Oh, is it?
Kanosuke is the rice shochu distillery, and that's where their barrel aging is.
I see.
And actually, here you can see this building. These are actually 2-story buildings, 2 or 3-story buildings, but they're buried in the ground up to this level to maintain temperature, to keep it cooler, because you're right there on the coast of southern Kagoshima, or southern Kyushu. So it's a pretty neat place. Now, a funny thing though, I think this is the right video. They've now taken over a middle school. So this is a middle school, and they're going to turn it into like artist and craft sort of like workshop area for startups and that kind of thing. And then they took over the school gymnasium as their new rick house.
Got it. Yeah, it's got this roof clearance.
Yeah, so there it is. The local school gymnasium is now the rick house. So.
They got rid of the floor though. That's too bad.
Yeah, and then of course they've got their beautiful tasting room right on the coast overlooking the ocean, which was just beautiful. Of course, I was the designated driver, so I didn't get to try these wonderful things, but we had a nice time. There we are with Mr. Komasa. So
nice.
Very proud of his news. So I did get samples, which I have not yet tried. I guess that's a common thing in Japanese, in Scotch distilleries. Whoever the designated driver is gets a sample set to take home so they don't miss out. And a lot of Japanese distilleries don't do that yet, but I've got a nice set of samples now from Komasa, so
excellent.
Pretty excited about that. Yep.
Excellent. Very cool. That seems like it was positive. What was your guest reaction to the entire flow
he
of
thought it was
events?
fantastic, and of course I couldn't be in that part of the country without making him visit a shochu distillery, and I think I lit the lamp on that. So I expect him to become a go down that rabbit hole and start to explore shochu, which he knew about. He'd had it, and he has a little bit in his bar, but it's not been a focus of his. He's been much more whiskey focused. But now I think he realizes just how special, especially sweet potato shochu can be. So we had a good time.
Nice. Yeah. And does he have much shochu on his menu at his restaurant or at his bar?
Not a lot.
Okay.
But his bartender does play with shochu in his cocktails, so it's on the radar. In fact, I did the live stream. I did this live stream with Ann Magoon when I was in Seattle from outside of his bar. Actually,
I remember.
The doctor's office.
Okay.
Is the name of the bar.
Little bar.
Tiny little bar. He built it with the concept of a Japanese cocktail bar. So just 12 seats, super tiny. It'll only work in certain markets in certain ways.
Sure.
But he's got something like 300 Japanese whiskeys and like 100 on the menu, kind of thing. It's a pretty deep dive place for Japanese whiskey in Seattle. So definitely worth a visit.
Nice. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. That was very cool to see. And we'll head into the final third here, I think. If I can find the damn thing. Bottle kill or whatever. Could be newly opened too, I suppose. What you got?
Well, I throw away my kill bottles, so...
I did too. I've been on a rampage getting this place cleaned out. Look, I can move around in here now. Look at this. Look at
nice.
Oh, unbelievable. I'm not even kicking anything.
That's not even the same room. I don't know what you're talking
about. Let's see. What has recently... I've just been going through samples. I've been trying to plow through samples. I've been very diligent.
I've been doing the same. I thought I had something. There was something I wanted to share last time. I did just open this. This is actually the newest thing that I've opened.
Denon, okay.
Denon gold label. This is the barley expression. So it's barrel-aged barley shochu, 25% alcohol. You can see that it's been barrel aged. The fun thing about Denon, and I think we've talked a little bit about them before, is that they actually play music to their shochu. They play it during the first fermentation, during the second fermentation, during aging, and then after dilution before bottling. So this shochu listens to a lot of music, and I think you and I were pretty skeptical about whether or not it mattered. But when you taste the diluted shochu that's been diluted and rested with music versus not, you can guess which is which. It's more harmonized. It's more mellow when it's listening to music. Like in a blind taste, everybody gets it right.
Very
when they
different.
visit the distillery.
It was completely different. They were two totally different drinks. And I think the thing that really, for me, resonated, the thing that made the most sense for me anyway, if you're going to go to the trouble of fixing transducers to the sides of tanks and everything and pump music directly into the solution, the thing that makes the most sense is doing it during fermentation. And that's something that I feel is kind of novel. I don't know if you hear gimmicky stories about, sonic aging all over the world, and I think it's just playing music to whiskey resting in casks. And I'm not going to poo-poo that necessarily, but there is something to be said for what the extra vibrations from the sound can do inside a fermentation tank when things are bubbling away anyway. That does affect things, and they've been able to prove that. So that was really interesting for me, and I don't think I understood that before visiting the distillery. I thought it was just a gimmick, but then when you go in there and you see how the whole thing works, and you're like, that probably does have an effect, doesn't it? And you can taste it.
Yeah. It's all classical that they played at then and right. Yeah, and they actually post the playlist on the side of the tank, so you can follow along.
Initially, the story goes that, or at least the way the story was told to us on one visit when we were both there at the same time, is that the former head of the distillery was really into classical music, and they have this performance space there. It's in this old like barn almost, where they have people come and play music, and they have events there. And he just wanted his staff to be able to listen to classic, nice music while they were working, so he set up these. He put up a couple of nice speakers on the distillery floor, and that was that. And what they figured out over time was that the fermentations that were closest to the speakers were the best fermentations. They were able to, they were able to very clearly see that and taste that and smell that. And so they're like, there's something with the vibrations from the music that is assisting here or enhancing in some way. And so then they ended up going, now they're at the point where when you go into the underbelly of the fermentation, the main fermentation room, and you go to the bottom of these big vats, you can see this big band of just transducers that are pumping music directly into the side of them from all angles. And they've gone at it 110%. And that's where that's the shape that their sonic aging takes, which I think is way more intentional than anywhere else that I've run into, honestly.
Yep. No, I'm definitely become a fan of their stuff, and I just think they do a lot of cool things, and I like the way that they think and operate as a company. So one of the bigger makers that I definitely have a lot of respect for. How about you? Any bottle kill that you want to share?
Nothing killed. I have returned to this bottle of 44% Sakura Ichiban, which is a Yamagawa Awamori that's 3 years old. So it's a Kus bottled in 2021. It's another sample.
Funny. Yeah. I used that for staff training at the Ritz-Carlton Fukuoka a couple of weeks ago.
That's a good way to use it.
They called me up and they were like, they wanted to do a staff training to teach shochu to their service staff, and it's my first time doing shochu education to Japanese people in Japanese, and I think I handled myself okay. And I did apologize to them in advance that my Japanese was probably going to sound strange to them, but I'd do my best. But they didn't tell me until that morning that they wanted me to bring samples. I thought we were just going to pour what they had available, right? What they were planning on serving their guests. And I was like, all right, let me see what I have. And I was like, all right, I want an awamori. Oh, I got this Ichiban Sakura Kusu sample, which I didn't pay for, so I don't mind sharing it.
Yep.
And Yeah, they had a lot of fun with it though. It just poured them a bunch of interesting things. They asked tons of questions. They were very excited. And yeah, they open very, very soon.
Can't
And
wait. That's so cool.
apparently somebody called them. This is the new Ritz. It's a brand new Ritz Carlton in central Fukuoka. First one in Kyushu, and somebody called up the opening night and booked the like the presidential suite or the emperor's suite or whatever, because they wanted to be able to say they were the first person to stay in that suite at that Ritz Carlton. And I'm not even going to tell you how much that is a night, but you can imagine you could buy a car for one night in that suite.
Yeah, I can sort of imagine.
And somebody just wanted to be first.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, it's always. Yeah. Go ahead, be first.
Yeah, exactly.
We're gonna be best.
It's a pretty stunning space, I have to say. They've got
I'm sure.
several beautiful bars, several beautiful restaurants, massive kitchen. I mean, the kitchen for the hotel is 30,000 square feet or something like that. Maybe that's probably an exaggeration. Maybe 10,000 square feet. It's big.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's impressive. So
it's a destination. Nice. Well,
yeah,
cool.
If you have the wherewithal, if you have the expendable funds, I think it's definitely going to be worth staying.
The expense account. If you have the account, go for it. Yeah, and they're gonna have some decent shochu there, as I understand it. So,
yeah,
good.
Yeah, and I think that they want to do some events, so probably be able to do some pairing dinners and that sort of thing now and again.
Love it.
So pretty exciting. Yeah.
Excelente. Okay. Well,
yeah.
I think,
cool.
Yeah, you're busy. I know today. So
every day
we're gonna let you off the hook here so that you can go back to ruling the world over there. And it was a good one. Very cool to hear about the whiskey distilleries. Thank you for sharing the visuals on that. And thank you to everybody who tuned in all around the world once again to another edition of Shochu'sday. We're back on a semi-regular clip here, which will probably be interrupted as soon as we leave the country again. But we're going to do our best.
I will be in Boston next week, but I think I can probably I'll just do it from Boston because I'm doing a shochu class in Boston next. I'm sorry, that's not true. I'm doing it the day after. I'm doing it on Wednesday, not Tuesday. So if we can delay it a day and do it on Thursday morning Japan time, Wednesday evening US time, I could be live from Boston as my class is finishing. If you want to.
Yeah, let's definitely. Yeah, that's absolutely an option. Let's see if that'll actually work, and if not, maybe we need to. Well, we'll figure it out. Okay.
Yep. Cool.
Excuse me. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, everyone. We will be back hopefully next week, same time, same place, or maybe the day after.
Maybe one day later.
8 days from now. Yep. But yeah, just look for the Facebook. Yeah. Look for the Facebook notification or I don't know if YouTube gives notifications. But as always, from both of us here in Japan to all of you all around the world, I do have coffee now. A very hearty and heartfelt come by.
Okay.